Aho umohanik wangile ede wagni tuda. Ambale wakanda urachti wai. Ambale idadest. Awatega ukiko alongaskala ambali. Ede lagli tuda.
But today I think one of the things that we're talking about today that needs to be out there, Omaha Jaji Sigochaga. Wache Jaji Pierre Merrick. I'm talking today about with our relatives. We're talking about the sacredness of our tobacco. And when it is probably a good time to use it or an appropriate time. Over time, we kind of changed and started using this tobacco offering to each other, sometimes for hand games, sometimes, for something that's, I guess, not required. I mean, think about a time when I was with a relative that asked me to go to see some elders about running a hand game. And when we got over there to their residence, they offered that tobacco to the man that was there. And he refused it. He didn't really refuse it, but he said, when you're asking me to do a hand game, you really don't need to use this tobacco. When somebody dies, you're talking about death or healing, that tobacco comes in. But again, as time grows, and we each have our own teachings. That was something that I witnessed. That's why I'm talking about it. I witnessed this. I was there. I heard him talking. And others will do that. I seen at other time, I went to run a sweat up in Sioux City. And was with them, Sean. And that's what they gave me, a big bag of tobacco. And then big plastic bags you buy at the store to run a sweat. I didn't refuse it because these are Sean's, and maybe that's their way of doing things, thinking. So I took it. And but what I know of our ways, being around our sweat lodge ways, when we fill that pipe before we go in the sweat, that there is our tobacco offering. On that third door, when they open the door up, we use that pipe, that niniba, and we smoke together. That is our tobacco offering. That's what I know of that sweat lodge. But I think there's other ones here that had experiences in different times. But I guess bottom line, what I'm saying is, there's different times that you make these tobacco offerings. Back in the old days, they used to have that Bull Durham. Some of us probably remember that. All it was a little tobacco pouch that they used to buy in the store. They had papers and they rolled their smokes up that way. That was what they used. More in other ways, in other times, they use for that when they take tobacco to somebody, when somebody pass away or something, they'd use that tobacco or that corn husk and tobacco. They roll it right there while they're talking about what they want them to do. That's a old way there. A lot of us still use that. That there's what I've seen my lifetime. But we kind of want to, that's kind of how we want to talk today. Does anybody want to add to that? Joe.
This is Calvin. Ijaje wiwit Omaha ijaje wiwit te siha yellow buffalo. Calls in national moment today we talk about these things with tobacco and how for a long time it really shaped our lives and our lifestyles, and how we have kind of forgotten about those things today. There's a few that still remember them things, still walk with them, and several years ago I acquired my dad's Native American church staff, the one that he took care of for the people, and I have that today, and I try to do the best I can. But I've had a lot of teachers along the way, men like Malcolm Tyndall, my Negiho, Jeff Gilpin, his words, I remember them. And they talked about this tobacco. They say that nothing starts without tobacco. That tobacco is the very first thing to start, And there was a certain way that our Omaha people presented it. And like Brother Pierce said, it was done with a corn husk, rolled in a corn husk and smoked together, made prayers like that. So I remember those things. And then, we today we intermingle with a lot of different tribes, a lot of different ways. I've had other tribes come to me and ask me to make prayers. And in doing that, when they offer that tobacco, they put it in a little pouch. I still have some of them at home. Take care of them like that, And that's a big thing too, is taking care of that tobacco after you're done with whatever it is that's asked of you, I was told to find a tree at my home and take that tobacco and put it down at that tree, So I try to do that today, and these are things that I would hope are never forgotten about, and these are some of the things that we want to discuss today. So, Gatego,
Letego anglit uda. Omaha ushkawi angutak. Uluha amale angala. Today we're talking about the use of our tobacco. There are several different ways people say you can use it. Hengachadid ambale ele duba angutak idado alamaha. One of our relatives lost his leg today, was being amputated when they called me. And he mentioned he wanted to bury his leg to his mother. And I guess that's a Omaha Ushka. It goes way back. They did those things. And I wasn't sure how to go about that, so I called a couple of relatives, which I was very appreciative of, giving me direction. It's good that we talk about these things, because down the road, the things are going to come up again. And it's good that there's somebody we could turn to help each other. They say that this is a accepted way of one of our relatives, any of our relatives losing a part of their body, that we put it away this way. And they asked if they should bring me tobacco. And that was something else I had to ask somebody. So no, we don't do that. This individual lost his leg. He's still alive, he's still with us. So we're just going to bury that leg with the way he asked. There's no tobacco required in this Ushka Angutak.
Oh, ask my elders to excuse me. I'm thankful and grateful for them today. Omaha ijaje wiwitete hutata stasada. my Wahe name is Joe Galvin Sr. And it's an honor and a privilege to be sitting here amongst our elders and our wa'us here to have another teaching moment, a learning moment about that tobacco. And the way I was taught and brought up with my grandparents, Alingay, Joe Harlan and Elizabeth Harlan, Sansi. They did things. They went to homes and took tobacco or some kind of offering that relatives could utilize in their home. So the elders here talking about different ways of doing things, and I think each clan probably has a different way of doing things, teaching-wise, and actually doing it that way. So today I just wanted to be appreciative and respectful to all the knowledge that I'm receiving here, and I even talked to some of my young uncles and brothers. The way we learn things today is how it was perceived to us. So is there a wrong way or a right way? That's something we probably wouldn't know until we meet Wakanda. So today I wanted to say that much about it, and I'm really respectful and thankful to still be here and learning and still appreciating the elders that we do have left here. So I just want to say to our Omaha relatives that, respect them and ask if you want to know something. Don't be afraid to ask, because we might not have that opportunity tomorrow. You don't know what tomorrow brings. So with that, I want to say thank you. Wibla.
Ewi de wangi de. Ijaj ewi wita de doingli he. Wahe. Deanna. I just wanted to say how thankful I am to be able to sit here amongst my relatives, my male relatives, so I can receive this information, this teaching moment. And I understand that as a wa'u, like I don't do any of those things, but it's always good to, with the tobacco, but it's good to get these teachings and just to hear them. And there was something I was going to ask, and now I can't remember. There was a question I had, but now I can't remember what I was going to ask. It was along those lines, though. But I know that in my experience, I've participated in NAC meeting for family, and devotional services. And we were encouraged as family, because I remember it was a prayer service for a relative. So we were encouraged by the man in charge to use the tobacco to pray. And I remember I actually did use that. I utilized it during that time. It was during a devotional service. I think it was for my nephew. It was a prayer service. He was going through a hard time in life, and his mom got that together for him. She wanted prayers, good words said for him. And I remember we was encouraged to do that. Take that tobacco and pray with it. But I remember that that good feeling during that time, and really prayed, and wholeheartedly, because I love my sister, and I love my nephew. And I remember that it was a positive outcome for him after his mom sponsored that devotions for him. And he was able to move on with his life and go about his life that time. So not only that, but just my teachings from family, you know, my uncles, you know. I never got to know my grandfathers. So like my uncle's Uncle Doran, he's in gay now, but he taught us that, you know, to pray and use that tobacco in a good way, and just today hearing the stories, you know, and what you all have shared, it's like it kind of took me back to those times, you know, growing up. He would always encourage us to take in a meeting, you know, Native American church. A lot of times I did, you know, I would sit with him, sat with him a few times, because that's what he would tell us. He said, I go and I pray for all of you. He said, I say each one of your names, mention you guys, because you're my family and I love you. He would always say that to us. And I always thought, you know, that was so great. And so when I did sit in a meeting, he did, you know, what I seen, you know, he did. He would be sitting there praying. So that encouraged me, you know, that gave me that encouragement to be strong and to be able to sit and pray for one another. And then, so like my role today, when I go to the school and I sit with the kids, you know, I would like to teach them a prayer in Omaha language, you know, but right now I do pray with them. We pray and then we smudge. I use the sage and we smudge. And they were like that. They look forward to it. And one time I think I forgot something. I can't remember one of those steps I forgot. Here they reminded me because they're used to that. They look forward to that being smudged, and some of them, they like to carry that shell around to smudge. And then in one class, one young man, he even prays for us. He offers to say the prayer for us. And so that, you know, that makes me feel good. But that's my my experience with tobacco and with, I mean, I don't use the tobacco like that, but I'm just saying like the prayer, you know, and teaching the younger ones prayer to start, you know, a meal or our circle, to start that with a prayer. And it's important. I think we were talking earlier, and Reve and I was talking about that. Some of the kids, they don't know that. They don't know how to pray. And so what I learned just from growing up in a Native American church, and then now I go sit and sweat, you know, as much as I can. I love sitting in the sweat and just talking to Creator and meditating and praying and singing. You know, I feel like what I take from there, what I learned from there, like that's what I try to share with the young ones, you know, with my own children, you know. So some of our kids are getting that. Some of them know about prayer and smudge and that good feeling. And so yeah, that's my take on that. Shay.
Ahu wangili iat uda. Leitego anglit uda. Omaha ia angutak. Omaha usko angutak. Kashi edi. Pahanga di ele angutam. Ich agam wa ujangam. Idades wawala. Wakandak Omaha ia angutak wa I abem. Sagichti ulang. I ambale. Omaha ia angutak najichti di gleam. Omaha ia angutak ambajik lingetak. Wimikid gata atamba kamblamaji. Omaha ia angutak, Omaha uska angutak. Ewachti, Omaha neshinga amali. Idada, Omaha ia agisilek. Ebe Omaha ia galak, awategacht, uwika kambla. We kid, Umarlike, 75 years old. Waliglik, echte baji. Atashti Omaha ia angutak, agisile baji nema. Als je gaan, die man blink, Omaha ia thilagas kambla. Wangile, waligile, leitega anik. Ude ankikagatak, wakandak, wadambak, la erwalachtitak. Leitega, wakanda wablaha mumbly. Edi laglin tuda, wiblaha, wangile.